Hare Krishna. I welcome all of you to our this special class. We have on psychological perspective to wellness. We had covered part one in the last class, and today will be the continuation of psychological perspective to wellness part two and an insight from Bhagavad Gita. So, in the last class, we answered that why we are talking about psychological perspective to wellness from Bhagavad Gita, and as we saw that Adi Shankaracharya says that all the Upanishads are like cows, and Krishna, the son of the cowherd, is the milker. Arjun is the calf, and the wise people are the ones who drink the milk. The milk is the nectar of Bhagavad Gita, the supreme essence, as quoted by Adi Shankaracharya in the Glories of Gita. Right? That's the reason why we have taken Bhagavad Gita as this is the supreme essence of all Upanishads. The topic that we have taken is psychological perspective to wellness today in the modern world. Wellness and psychological perspective is becoming a major challenge. As per the WHO report, there had been at least one person out of 10 is supposed to be psychologically ill. And we went in different slides about what is psychological wellness, and mental, emotional, and social well-being is basically is a part of it's addressed as psychological wellness, and we saw that how it affects, and also we saw what are the common issues that impacts wellness. And just to repeat and set the context, so we saw that the fast-paced routines in which we are today, the poor work-life balance, the digital saturation, lack of spiritual grounding as we don't have time to spend time on spiritual knowing about our scriptures and spending time on spiritual awareness. Then crisis in values and belief because of the globalization, and there's a confusion. We are actually getting crisis in values, see a crisis in values and belief, a constant pressure to achieve and appear successful. And success has a different meaning today. Success means material success, and that is what which actually puts pressure. And these are the common issues because of which the wellness gets impacted, psychological wellness get impacted. And very important point is that pursuits are driven by external validation, how others see me as successful, more from a material gain perspective than really understanding what life success is. And because of which what we are seeing today, the chronic stress, the burnout, the anxiety, feeling of inadequacy and disconnection, loneliness, identity confusion, depression, addiction. These are some of the impact that we are the society is facing today because of the issues that we talked about in the last slide. And then we actually went through the Bhagavad Gita. What is the integration point? How does Bhagavad Gita addresses this? And Bhagavad Gita addresses this from three perspective. First is the nature of self, understanding who am I. Then the root cause of suffering, which is misidentification with body and mind, and the ultimate solution. So this is what the three parts that we went through quickly. So understanding the nature of the self, we saw who am I and what is my real identity. And when we went into detail about who am I, we realized that I am actually a soul, and I am not a and I am a part and parcel of Krishna. So who am I? I am a soul, and body is different from soul. This is what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. And also, what is my real identity? Mame Vansho Jeev Loke Jeev Bhuta Sanatana. So I am a spiritual being, and I am part and parcel of Krishna as per Bhagavad Gita. We went through the story of king and the four wives. So this is what was the conclusion from the first topic, who am I and what is my real identity. And then we move to the next topic, the root cause of suffering, which is misidentification with body and mind. Here where we went into a bit of detail of why do we get this body. So it is because of our desires, our karma, and ignorance of our true self, because of which we get a body. And then we went a bit into detail about the body, that the soul is embodied into by two layers: the external layer that we see, which is made up of gross, we call it gross elements, made up of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and the subtle elements, the second one, which is subtle elements, which is mind, intelligence, and false ego. And then we have soul. And when we die, what happens? The subtle elements, which is the mind, intelligence, and false ego, that travels along with soul to another body. Yeah. And then we also went into detail about what is mind. So mind is the storehouse of desires and memory, and that goes from one body to another. So the faculty of thought and feeling is a part of mind. Intelligence, we saw, is the faculty of discrimination. This is the faculty of reason and judgment. And then was false ego, because of which is the sense of I-ness. It is I, mine, because of which we have got this body, right? So this is what we saw from body and soul perspective. And then we went into detail about how does the body interacts with soul, and we saw that the body interacts with soul via the mind. And we took an example of computer. If we can equate, if just to understand, the computer hardware is like a body, and the software we install is the mind, and the user who's using this software is the soul. So this is how we can have an analogy with computer hardware. And then we went to the detailed analogy from about a chariot, that is from Kathopanishad. And we saw how the body, the soul, the mind, the senses, and the intelligence are related. We saw that the senses, the horses are like the senses are the horses, the charioteer is the intelligence, and the rope which is connecting the horse to the charioteer is the mind. The passenger is the soul, and the chariot is the body. And then we went into the detail about that if the charioteer is weak, and if the charioteer is weak and the rope are slack, then the horses will run uncontrolled, right? So if the intelligence is weak and the mind is weak, then the senses will run uncontrolled, and the passenger in the chariot in that case will fall down helplessly. And that is what we see, that the soul will get dragged helplessly, experiencing confusion, suffering, and misdirection. But if the chariot is strong and is holding the rope strongly, then what will happen? The horses will be controlled, and the passenger will reach its destination. So if the intelligence is strong and the mind is controlled, then the senses will be controlled and soul would reach its destination. This is the analogy from Kathopanishad. So we saw that untrained horses is actually equated to uncontrolled sense, because of which we have sensual addiction, distractions. Loose reins is unsteady mind, because of which we have anxiety, indecision. Blind charioteer is a weak or misled intelligence, because of which we make the poor life choices. And the sleeping passenger is the forgetfulness of self, loss of purpose, and peace. So we learned that the chariot model gives a complete map of psychological wellness and self-mastery. Control the senses through the mind, train the mind through the intellect, and guide the intellect through spiritual knowledge. So the soul can reach its true destination of inner peace and liberation, right? So this is where we finished, and then we wanted to see the ultimate solution. And then we saw that we have to, one of the important part is mastering the mind. And we saw this slok from Bhagavad Gita, that for one who has conquered the mind is the best of friend. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind is the greatest enemy, right? And we took examples of, if the mind being the greatest enemy of a small child having a sharp knife in the hand, what how much damage the child can do to self and others is an example of uncontrolled mind. Similarly, uncontrolled fire, if the fire is uncontrolled, that is how the damage it can do is equivalent to the damage a uncontrolled mind can do to us. Or a car being driven by a drunkard, right? How many people it can kill, that we can imagine. And we also saw Arjun's dilemma, that Arjun also in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita was compassionate and anxious. And then we saw that, fear of sinful reactions of killing his kinsmen, destroying the family tradition. Because of all these things, Arjun was in dilemma, and finally he surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjun, which is the essence of supreme essence. And then when Krishna asked him, told him about this mind, then Arjun replied that Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balvadrinam tasyaham nigraham manye vayonis. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think is very difficult than controlling the wind. He said that it is easier to control the wind than controlling the mind. So this is what we had learned in the last class. And then Krishna said, yes, I agree. Asanshaya Mahabaho, O mighty armed son of Kunti, you are absolutely right that it is very, very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. And we saw, and we were here where we were talking about Krishna's answer, how to control the mind. And Krishna said that there are two processes, which is abhyas and detachment, by which we can control the mind. This is what we had learned in the last class. So now in the abhyas we saw, we talked about that we can apply five principles or tools that can help control the mind, and that was tapa, sattva, vidya, mantra, and dhyan. And then detachment is nishkam karma yoga and bhakti yoga, right? So now let us go to the first one, which is tapa. Now, when we say tapa or austerity, the thing that comes to our mind is actually, a sage who is sitting in the forest doing in meditation. Or when we say austerity, someone standing in a sage standing in one leg, on one leg and doing austerity. Such scenes comes to our mind because this is what we understand about austerity. But in today's world, things are so distracted, we are so distracted that it's very, very difficult for us to achieve that level. So when we talk about today's world, what we can do from a tapa or austerity perspective for all of us, so we can say fasting. If we can fast, fasting is one of the method by which we can can be an example of austerity in today's life. Then observing silence for a day, like, don't speak, just try to maintain silence for a day. Abstaining from sense gratification or mind's demand. If we can if we can not let ourselves do what our mind is saying, some for some sense pleasure, but say no to the mind, then that can also be a part of our austerity. Then abstaining from using mobile or digital device for a day. I think that is very, very difficult for all of us. It is so difficult, with living without mobile even for a day is really difficult. And eating only prasadam. So we gave some example how exactly today we are, the way we all are today is, if is as soon as it's hot, we want AC. As soon as it is cold, we want heater. If I'm hungry, I immediately go and order something on Swiggy that I like, and the food comes. So what is happening by doing all these things? We are actually we are weakening our mind. We are losing our strength of tolerance. We are losing our strength of tolerance. And because of this, our we are actually letting our mind become weaker and weaker. So now when we start fasting, so when we do fasting, we are deliberately telling ourselves, I won't eat today. So by doing that, I'm controlling my hunger. And when I control my hunger, saying no, so basically I'm telling no to my bodily needs. So this is how. Then observing silence. What does one tongue want to do? It always want to speak or eat. So when we say I don't want to, even I have an urge to speak, but I don't speak and maintain silence, my mind becomes calm, and that also gives a space to me. Then similarly, eating only prasadam. We are so much used to doing Swiggy and other things. What will happen if I say, okay, this 2 days I will not do eat anything outside, but I will whatever it is, I will just cook. I will offer it to Krishna, and then I'll eat. So if I can do that, then what's happening? I'm actually developing the ability to control my mind by saying no on myself, like, knowingly saying that. So what I'm doing is I'm actually controlling my senses, and by this, if I do it again and again and again and again, then I when what we can have the ability to control. So that is something which is one of the ways by which we can control our mind. There's a very good shlok, by an acharya called Rup Goswami, written in Nectar of Instruction. He says, Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jivya vegam udropastha vegam. He says, Vacho vegam. Vacho vegam means controlling the urgency to speak. Mana is mind. Mind is sense control. Krodha, anger. And jivya is tongue. And udara is stomach. If we can control all of these things, then we are actually we can strengthen our mind so much that we can have are eligible to have what do you call it, disciples. So this is one of the methods that can be followed to control the mind. Let us go to the second one, which is sattva. Sattva is mode of goodness. So Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that this material world, in the last class I had explained why are we in this material world. Because we wanted to be away from Krishna. We are, who am I am a part and parcel of Krishna, but I wanted to be away from Krishna and enjoy just like a son or a daughter. When they grow up, what do they want to do? They want to go away from the family, from the parents, so that they think they'll get freedom and have more fun. Similarly, all of us who are in this material world, we wanted to go away from Krishna so that we can enjoy. And so what did Krishna do as a father? What he did, he created this material world and he put all of us there so that we can actually enjoy. But this material world is actually called Prakriti. It's called Prakriti or material nature. And this Prakriti, as soon as the soul enters this material world, it becomes conditioned. It becomes conditioned. Condition means it gets covered. It's get covered by three energies. The three energies are energy of ignorance, passion, and goodness, which is tamas, rajas, and sattva. These are the three energies, and everyone gets bound by that. Now, just to understand, just to give a practical experience, we all know that there are three primary colors. Which are the three primary colors? Red, yellow, and blue. These are the three primary colors. Any color that we see are made of these three colors, either two color as a combination of these two colors. Think about the shades of green that we see in this whole universe. There are uncountable colors of green in this whole world. And how does this green color comes? It is by the different proportion of blue and yellow. Accordingly, the green color will come. So whatever colors that we see in this whole universe are actually from three basic colors, which is red, yellow, and blue. Similarly, all of us have the behaviors that we see. So basically, are made up of these three energies, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance. But it is of different percentage. The percentage. So each of us also in a different time of the day will have different percentage of goodness, passion, and ignorance. In a same family born of the same parent, we see that the kids are of different behavior. Some kids, and why is it so? It's also because of the percentage of goodness, passion, and ignorance in each of them. That defines the behavior of the different child, right? So each of us, as soon as we come to this material world, we get covered by this energy, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And what Krishna says that sattva, which is the mode of goodness, is what we should be living in. So let us look at an example. He says, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that anything that we see in this material world, we can actually classify that into three modes. For example, even the object of worship, whom we worship, is also can be in three modes. If we are worshipping Devi Devatas, then we are in the mode of goodness. If we are worshipping powerful men, many people, they worship, they have a hero and they worship that hero, powerful person, right? And they want to be like that. So that is in the mode of rajas. And some people worship ghosts and spirits. That is the most of ignorance. Similarly, the food that we eat, fresh fruits, vegetables, grains. These all in the mode of sattva. Some spicy food is in the mode of rajas, passion, and meat, liquor, they comes in the mode of ignorance. The sacrifices or yagya that we do, no expectation of the result as a matter of duty, is sattva. Similarly, with expectation of result and sake of pride is rajas. So whatever the charity that we give, the austerity that we perform, the place we live, a place like forest or village falls in the mode of goodness. City is in the mode of passion, and bars are in the mode of tamas. The time early in the morning is actually sattva, goodness. Day is rajas, and night is ignorance, which is tamas. Similarly, the knowledge, the work, the worker, everything. Krishna has explained 2.5 chapters on the modes of material nature, explaining that anything and everything is in the mode, can be defined and divided into three modes. And Krishna says that sattva, which is goodness, O sinless one, the mode of goodness being purer than the others, is illuminating, and it frees us from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. Many times we wonder why this person is always happy, even though so many things are going wrong near that person, but this person remains always happy. It is because that person has a high percentage of goodness in that person. Some people are always cribbing. Whatever you do for them, they are always cribbing. They are always unhappy. It is because the percentage of ignorance is higher in them. That is how Krishna explains that all of us are conditioned by these three modes, and based on our percentage, we stay. So what we should try? We should try what is the abhyas we should do? We should try to always be in the mode of sattva, and which will be illuminating. It will be freeing us from the sinful reactions, and it will make us towards happiness and knowledge, right? So this is something, second tool that Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita. Third thing is vidya. Vidya is knowledge. Now, knowledge. Now, when we talked about so what is knowledge? Knowledge is basically understanding that who am I? I am not this body. I am soul. And then doing things, and then understanding who is God, understanding the relation between the soul and God, and understanding how to revive the relation between the soul and God, so that we can our go back to Godhead. That is knowledge. So now, so how can we do that? And then we talked about in the chariot model about the that we have to, if we want psychological wellness, then we have to control the senses through mind, train the mind through intellect, and guide the intellect through spiritual knowledge. So we saw in the chariot model that if the intellect, which is a charioteer, if the charioteer is very strong, if the intelligence is very strong, then what will happen? It can hold the rope very tightly, and when it will hold the rope tightly, it will not let the horses, which is the senses, go here and there. So what we need to do, we have to make our intelligence very, very strong. And how we can make the intelligence very strong? Krishna says by spiritual knowledge, right? And what is the spiritual knowledge? And when we do that, then what will happen? The soul can reach the true destination of inner peace and liberation, right? So now, what is spiritual knowledge? And then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, he says, Rajavidya Rajguhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyamam. Krishna says that this knowledge, the knowledge of soul, the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the relationship, the knowledge of how to revive, all these things are given in Bhagavad Gita. And he says, this knowledge is the king of all education. Why it is the king of all education? It is the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and it gives a direct perception of the self-realization. Why Krishna says that it is the king of all education? Why Krishna says that it is the secret of all secrets? It is because the knowledge in Bhagavad Gita helps us to understand that we are actually stuck in the cycle of birth and death, and it teaches us how we can break this cycle of birth and death and go back to Godhead, right? So this is the knowledge. This knowledge is not taught in any universities. This knowledge, you talk about any universities in the world, you don't get this knowledge. So that's why Krishna has said that this knowledge that we have in Bhagavad Gita, or that helps us to understand about is the Raj Vidya. It is the king of knowledge, and it is a Raj Guhyam. It is the secrets. So we should, and the spiritual knowledge means understand your scriptures, read that, understand and practice that. So this is by which we can strengthen our intellect, and when we strengthen our intellect, we can have a nice control over our mind, right? The fourth tool that Krishna gives in Abhyas is mantra chanting. He says mantra is of two parts. Man means mind, and tra means to free. So mantra means to free the mind. Mantra means to free the mind. So when we chant, so what we have to do, we have to keep on chanting the holy name. When we keep on chanting the holy name of God, what will happen? Slowly by chanting, our mind will be free from all the sins. When our mind gets purified by the sound vibration, when we chant it loudly, what happens? The vibrations we hear. When the vibrations we hear, then what will happen? It does not only touches our body, but it touches our soul, and it purifies it uncovers the layer of tamas and ignorance and rajas which is covered. It slowly starts getting removed. It starts getting purified, and then what do we get? We get permanent happiness. And then we don't run much for material desires, that they become less important. And so by continuously mantra chanting, we will get purified, we will have a better understanding of our scriptures, and we will be able to strengthen and purify our mind. So this is the fourth tool that Krishna offers. And then abhyas. Abhyas is dhyan. Dhyan is meditation. So another thing that we can do is by doing meditation. Dhyan means meditation is supreme. So what is the benefit? By doing dhyan, it calms the turbulent mind. Our mind become calm. And when the mind is calm, then what will happen? It reduces restlessness, racing thoughts and distraction. We get mental stability. It reduces stress and anxiety. So we know that modern psychology shows meditation lowers the cortisol levels, and by meditating on Krishna, one gains inner joy and beyond material stimuli. So it helps prevent burnout, depression, and loneliness. Self-realization and meaning. Meditation brings awareness that I am not the body, I am the soul, and it deepens our spiritual and psychological wellness, right? So this is the advantage that we get on by doing meditation. So by following these five practices that we talked about, or any of the one, two, three that we can start with, by doing this practice, what will happen? We can slowly make our mind strong and pure, and that will impact and let's understand how it will impact our psychological wellness. So if when the when the, to the stress, how will the strong mind will react? It will not shaken, and pure mind will be calm and non-reactive. So what will happen? It will be balanced, steady under pressure. How will be the impact on emotions? The emotions will be controlled, and it will be compassionate and forgiving. What will be the desires and habits? What will happen to that? We'll have the willpower to resist our desires and habit, and it will free us from greed, envy, and negativity. So we can see freedom from intoxication and inner toxins. The purpose, we will be focused and determined. And when the mind is pure, we are more dharmic, ethical, and have higher values. So we'll have a meaningful and purposeful living. And spiritual wellness, we can be concentrated in meditation and bhakti. We'll be clear and sattvic, and that is the gateway of self-realization and inner peace, right? So this is how the abhyas, the five the tools, if we can use this, it can help us to control our mind and finally give us a psychological wellness. Now let us go to the second part of this whole thing, which is detachment. And here in detachment, we'll see Nishkam Karm Yog and Bhakti Yog. So let us see detachment, Nishkam Karm Yog. How does it help us in psychological wellness? So Krishna has explained in Bhagavad Gita that this world is Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Dukhalayam means if we have come to this world, this just like a Vidyalaya. Vidyalaya is a school, so Dukhalaya is this world is full of miseries. Dukh is misery. So this world is a house of miseries. And Ashashvatam means it is temporary. So that is the characteristics of this world. Now when we are in a world which is full of miseries and temporary, definitely we'll be suffering. Now how does the laws of karma works on in this world? So what happens, all of us would have read Newton's law of motion in our childhood. Every action has a equal and opposite reaction. Similarly, the laws of karma, whatever action we do, it will have a reaction. Whatever we'll do, it will have a reaction, and each of the reaction karma will cause the bondage. It will actually cause the bondage. So let us see what how to explain the karma. What I've shown in the picture, we can see a good karma and a bad karma. So now good karma can be giving charity, being compassionate, forgiving, feeding poor, honesty, austerity, performing yajna, building hospitals, dharmshala. All these will come under good karma. Now, when we do good karma, what happens? We can, to understand the laws of karma, we have to compare it to a bank. Just like in a bank, we keep our money. Similarly, we have a bank of our karma. When we do good karma, what happens? All the pious activity that we do, the money of pious activity gets stored in one bank or in one account. And when we do bad karma, like lying, cheating, stealing, not doing our duty as per our dharma, greed, lust, envy, killing innocent beings, gambling, anger, intoxication, harming others, so etc etc, if we do bad karmas, then we incur sins, and then we have another bank balance whereof sins. Now unfortunately, by doing good karma, we cannot cancel the bad karma. So we have to, and till our karma bank balance is not zero, it's not zero, we will have to keep on taking birth again and again. We have to keep on taking birth again and again. So what will happen, if we are very pious people, we are doing a lot of good karma, then we will actually take birth in a very good family, and we will actually enjoy, and we'll have to spend all the good karma. Similarly, if we are doing bad karma, we will actually take birth again, maybe we'll be too much diseased, will be very ill, or will born in a very poor family, or something will not be proper in our body, and then we'll have to suffer of all our bad karmas. So this is the law of karmas that we all have to go through. And Krishna says that the sins leads us to repeated birth and death. Our present happiness are due to the pious activities we have done, and all our sufferings are due to the sins. Whatever sin that we had done, because of which we are suffering. And in Garud Puran, it explains about the prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means the karma, the way karma works is, it is when we do something good or bad, it's just like sowing a seed. It is like sowing a seed. Imagine you are sowing a seed of mango plant. What will happen? It will actually take few years to for the tree to grow, and then for the fruit to come. But suppose you are putting a seed of a rose plant, then what will happen? In that particular season, the rose plant will grow big and the rose will come. So it all similarly, the sin that we have done, or the past activity we have done, it has a time frame by when it will get fructified. Some of the good work that we have done, it can get fructified in this life itself. And something which is, it will, it has a short fructification period, it will get shown in this life itself. And some of the sins, it takes few lives, after that it will actually it will actually come. So prarabdha karma is basically those karma which are now ready to fructify. It is now mature. The plant is, the fruit is totally mature, the seed is totally mature, and it's going to now flower. The seeds are ready to be there. So that is called prarabdha karma. So all those which is in this lifetime, whatever happiness or sufferings we are having, is it because of those seed, those karma, which are actually giving results. It is now mature and we are getting results. There may be some of the karma which is still pending, or we have done this life, which will actually come in our future life. And just to explain more about this, let's take the story of Dhritarashtra and his 100 sons. So Dhritarashtra was actually was a hunter some for 50 birds earlier, and he had burnt a nest of 100 baby birds alive. The father bird cursed him before dying. 100 sons will die in front of your eyes. So this action is called vikarma. The bad actions are called vikarma of killing innocent beings. Like so, Krishna says, those who are envious and cruel, who are the lowest among men, I purposely cast into the ocean of material existence into various demonic species of life. So what happened? We saw that Dhritarashtra had after 50 lifetime he had 100 sons and they got killed. But the question is, why did it takes 50 lives to get those 100 sons? Because he took so many lives to get the pious karma to get a son, and that is why it took him 50 lifetime. After that he got the same. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the intricacies of actions are very hard to understand. The laws of karma, the way it works, is very, very hard to explain. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. So now, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains a term called akarma. We know karma. Karma is actually for the pious activity, the word karma is used. We know vikarma. Vikarma means bad karma, bad karma. But something called akarma. Akarma means there will be no action, no reaction to it. So if I do a pious activity or I do a karma, there will be an action to it. So for that action, I'll have to be reborn so that I can enjoy that whatever fruits has come. Similarly, when I do a vikarma, which is a bad action, again I take birth because I will have to suffer for that bad karma. So Krishna says we have to do a karma, which is inaction. Akarma means whatever things that we do, there should not be a reaction to it. And then Krishna explains that in great details in Bhagavad Gita, saying akarma is basically any action that we do. If we are offering that action to Krishna, then that action becomes basically a karma. All the reactions are absorbed by Krishna. For example, a very good example is the food that we eat. Now we say a non-veg food, then we are killing someone. Even when it's a vegetarian food, when I'm cooking, lots of invisible insects gets killed, right? Now those karma, although it's a vegetarian food, but because those are getting killed, I am going to suffer for it. So what Krishna says? Offer it to me. So when we offer it to Krishna, the same food becomes prasad. And when it becomes prasad, when we offer it to Krishna, all those its sins have been taken by Krishna, and what is left behind is prasad. So when I eat prasadam, it becomes a karma. So I don't get a reaction of the cooking that I have done, even though it was vegetarian, right? Similarly, I get a house. Now, if I get a house for my pleasure, then what is happening? It's for my pleasure, so I will have to suffer for it. Although something good, right? But then if I have an house, but it's not for me, I offer it to Krishna. Krishna, this is for you. And in that house, I do Krishna Kirtan, I do Krishna Katha. So what's happening? I have made this house Krishna's home. And what is happening? I am staying in Krishna's home. So I'm not going to get any reaction for it. What I have done, I am staying in Krishna's home. So it becomes a karma. Similarly, I work, I go to office, I get money. Now, as soon as I get money, I spend whatever I am doing out of that. It is becomes my action. As soon as it becomes my action, I get a reaction for it. But if I get a money, I offer the entire money to Krishna and tell Krishna, I need to pay for my school education for my school. I'm taking out this much for that. I have to cook and I have to get buy fruits and vegetables. I'm taking out from this much for that. I have to do this activity. I'm taking out from this. So it is Krishna's money from Krishna because I am here and all my kids, all my relations are gift of Krishna to me. And because I have a body, I have to take care of body so that I can take care of Krishna. So what happens? I use the money, I take the money from Krishna and use it for all the work that I'm supposed to do as a person. So what happens? All those activity becomes transcendental. It becomes Krishna's work, and then I don't get a reaction for it. That is what is a karma. So when we live like this, we don't get a reaction, and when we don't get a reaction, then we talked about the three energy, which is tamas, passion, and ignorance and goodness. We can actually go beyond that. We can transcend these three energies, and we can come to Brahma Bhuta stage, which is basically the base of the spiritual world. So when we start living this way, we get the power to transcend the three modes, which is ignorance, passion, and goodness. And we transcend these three modes, we come to the Brahma Bhuta stage, and from there it is the spiritual world starts. So I don't get any reaction, and I can get free from the bondage of birth and death. So this is the intricacies of karma, and there are lots of rules and regulations which is supposed to be followed, but this is just an example of a karma. So we all should aim for a karma. So, what is the solution to suffering? And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Nishkam Karma Yoga is one of the answer to the suffering. What is Nishkam Karma Yoga? Nishkam Nishkam, as calm means to enjoy, and Nishkam means not to attach, right? Not to enjoy. So dutifully work. So do your work with detachment to results. So do your duty, but don't have attachment to your results. Then renounce attachment to success and failure. And third is reject all abominable actions. So these are the three things Krishna talks about in Nishkam Karma Yoga. Let us go to the next slide. What is dutifully work with detachment to results, right? So we know this very famous slok from Bhagavad Gita. कर्मण्ये वादिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फल हेतुर्भुर माते संगोस्त तव कर्मणि. Krishna says, कर्मण्ये वादिकारस्ते, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. Ma faleshu kadachana, but do not have any expectation on the result. Do not have any expectation. Why? Because ma karm fal heturbhur, because never consider yourself to be the cause of result. Normally what happens, we work hard, we get some result, and we say, I have done this. We take the credit of getting the results that we are getting. And Krishna says, ma karm fal heturbi, never consider yourself to be the result of your activity. Why? And then also he says, last word, ma te sangostava karmani, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Because now, why we should not consider ourselves for the result of what we have done? Because Krishna says that the result is not only because of your effort. We may think that, I have worked hard and I've got such a brilliant result, right? For example, a 12th standard report or result or something. But because of that result, it is not only your effort, it is also the prayers of your parents, it is also the hard work of your teachers, it is also the sacrifice made by your mom or your or your guru who had blessed you for doing that. There are so many other parts. So you have got the result, yes. So that's why Krishna says, do not have expectation for the result. It is not just because of your effort that you have got the result. Whatever we achieve is not just because of me. No. And that is what Krishna teaches us. Normally we are very proud, I have achieved this, and that I, when I say I, that is what is the cause of our bondage. That is the cause of our bondage in our life. We always think I did it, and that I is the cause of our bondage. So Krishna says, karmani evadikaraste, do your duty, but don't be attached to the fruits. Because first of all, as soon as you attach to the fruits, you are bound. Second thing, that result is not only because of your effort. Ma karm phal hetu bhi. Never consider yourself the cause of result. Always remember, whatever you are achieving, there is a sacrifice of lot of people because of which that result has come. If a husband is working very hard, there is a wife behind that who is enabling her to work hard. She is giving the proper food. She is ensuring that the right space is given to the person. She is not cribbing why you are spending so much time in the office, right? Yeah. So there's so much sacrifice done by other family members, other friends, others for something we achieve. That's why Krishna says, never. There are prayers of your parents. There's so many things. So that's what we have to be very important. And when we do that, we should dutifully work with detachment to result. And then when we become like that, then it doesn't matter. Then I'm not bothered about the results will come. Sometimes I have worked very hard, but my result is very negative. It may be because of my past karma. I don't know. So don't get attached to it, right? Then is renounce attachment to success and failure. So renounce attachment to, because when you're not attached, it doesn't matter to you whether you succeed or fail, because it is also the laws, the karmas that is coming from various things. I work very hard, but my result is always bad. It's because of my karma, it may be. So don't get attached to that. So Krishna says, Yogastha kuru karmani sanga tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya asiddhyo samo bhutva samtvam yoga uchyate. Krishna says, perform your duty equiposed, O Arjun, abandoning all attachment to success and failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Krishna says, be equiposed. Don't attach to your success or failure, because when you are equiposed, you're not attached, you will not suffer, right? And then third thing Krishna says, reject all abominable actions. All actions which should not be done, all forbidden action, you should never do it, because all of them are going to cause you sinful reaction. So keep all our activities by devotional service. That's why we have to be doing prayers, so that we can strengthen our intelligence and be away from the abominable activities. And if we do so, what will happen? How does the psychological wellness connects to Nishkam Karma Yoga? Krishna says, so how wellness, it's basically, it'll reduce our anxiety, because whatever result comes, by not being obsessed by the result, I have done my duty. If the result has not come as I expected, it's fine. There must be something else which I don't know. So it will reduce my anxiety. It will remove stress of comparison. Focus on effort, not the outcome. When you're not focusing on outcome, there'll be no comparison. Purpose in life. Then work becomes meaningful without burden. Purpose in life, because yes, I have to work, so I'm working. But then there's a, you do the work properly, instead of really looking at the not become the burden. Strengthening resilience. Failure don't break, and success don't inflate ego. Yeah. So this is what is the Nishkam Karma Yoga, Krishna says. And then we go to the Bhakti Yoga. What is Bhakti Yoga? Bhakti Yoga is basically very simple, cultivating loving, selfless service to Krishna. That is what is Bhakti Yoga. So basically, we cultivate a relation with Krishna, and we do a selfless service to Krishna, and it's a loving service. It's a very easy and natural path. Why it is a natural path? Because Krishna has already told that who am I? I am Mamai Vansho Jeev Loke Jeev Bhuta Sanatana. He says all of you are nothing but a part and parcel of me. So when I am part of Krishna, it is so easy to worship Krishna, right? Easy and natural path. Natural because I'm a part of him. So if I'm wishing, I'm praying to him, it becomes very natural, right? So Bhakti Yoga doesn't require leaving the world. You don't have to go to a forest. You don't have to, leave your family. You can be in your family. You can do everything at the same time. You can remember. You can chant. You can love Krishna, right? So this is easy and natural. It is accessible to everyone. Anyone and everyone can do bhakti. Anyone can take name of Krishna. Anyone can do prayers to Krishna. It doesn't stop from caste, creed, country. Doesn't matter. Anyone can do that. So it is accessible to everyone, and is liberation through love. By devotion alone can I be understood as I am standing before you. And Krishna says that you can, if only through love someone can understand me. And uh, if I have to summarize Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Raja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshishyami Ma Shrucha. So we saw how our life is. Whatever karma we do, either we will get a sinful reaction, or we will get a pious reaction, and the intricacies of karma is so difficult for us to understand that whatever we'll do, there'll be some other bondage. So what Krishna says, after explaining all, after explaining the Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, everything. Krishna says, forget everything. Sarv Dharma Parityaja, leave everything. All your duties you leave. Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, just come to me. What I'll do? Aham Tvam, what I'll do? Sarva Papebhyo, from all sins. Mokshishami, I will ensure that you are free from all sins. Mashrucha, you don't have to worry about it. And that is the, what do you call it? It is the basically the essence of Bhagavad Gita, that abandon all varieties of religion and just remember unto surrender to me, and I will deliver you from all sinful reactions. Don't fear. So Krishna promises all of us that if we have really got the knowledge, we have to just do one thing. We have to just leave everything. Leave everything doesn't mean run away somewhere. No, mentally surrender to Krishna. Very simple. Just surrender to Krishna, and he will take care of everything. It's very easy to say, but very, very difficult to do. And then he also explains how you can surrender. And that is in the, he says, ninth chapter, he explains, he gives us four steps for surrendering. He says, Manmana, Bhav Mad Bhakto, Madhyaji, Mam Namaskuru. He gives us four steps. By these four steps, you can surrender to me. How? The most difficult is Manmana. Manmana means keep on thinking about me. Whatever you are doing, do it for Krishna, thinking about Krishna. It's extremely difficult to do. It is only only the gopis of Vrindavan are at that level who could do anything and everything for Krishna. So the first step is manmana. So someone who is at that stage, for that person, the entire life is Krishna. Anything, everything is Krishna. That is manmana. So be at that. So that is the highest level, which is thinking, talking, living, doing everything. All your breath is for Krishna. That is manmana. Then, if you cannot do that, bhav mad bhakto, be my devotee. What is the meaning of be my devotee? The meaning of being my devotee is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, Sevanam. They basically hear about me. Hear about me means read Bhagavad Gita, hear Krishna Katha, Bhagavatam. So hearing, that is the first thing. So if you want to know someone, you have to first hear about that. And how will we hear about Krishna? By Krishna Katha, by reading Bhagavad Gita, scriptures, Vishnu Puran, Padma Puran, they all talk about Krishna. So hearing is the first step. Then he says chanting. Chant, do mantra meditation, glorify Krishna, do kirtan about me, smaranam, remembering, constantly remembering Krishna. Then that is dhyan, you can say. Then archanam, worshipping, do offering to Krishna, decorate the deity daily, offer lamps to Krishna, offer prasadam to Krishna. That is worshipping. And services, serving devotees, humanity, and Krishna's creation. So this is basically the, what you call, be my bhakto, be my devotee. Then Madhyaji means pay obeisances to me. That is like yeah, basically worship me. And then manam, if you cannot do that also, just do namaskar to me every day. And if you do that, what will happen? Mame Veshyasi Yuktetvam. And if you do that always, then will happen? Atmana Matpara. You will come to me. So this is so easy. The Bhakti Yoga is very easy. We can do that. And then what will happen? What is the psychological wellness perspective? How does it help us? When we do this service to Krishna in Bhakti Yoga, our minds get purified. And when our minds get purified, we will be away from lust, anger, and greed. And it will fill our heart with love, meaning, and peace. We will learn the art of forgiveness, and it will give resilience against stress through surrender. And then it will replace loneliness. You will always know, even if you are single at home, you will know you'll never be lonely, because you always know that I belong to Krishna and Krishna is always there with me. And then you have lots of devotees, you can spend time with your devotees. So this is the life of very, it's a bhakti yoga is a path of very happiness. It's easy and full of happiness. So this is how we can be. This is the psychological wellness and perspective of bhakti yoga. So with this, I will end my this session. So this is what the psychological perspective of wellness is. We can do the why we suffer. You know, it's because of our ways, and how we can come out of it by spiritually, by strengthening our intellect by spiritual knowledge. And then we have so many abhyas, five types of abhyas. We have got nishkam karma yoga, we have bhakti yoga, and this is what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. By doing all these things, we can actually be free from suffering. That's it. Any questions? Feel free to write the questions, and you can ask me, and I'll welcome that. So thank you. We end the session with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you.